Yeah, and I think what you're seeing there is the importance of specialization with brands like yourself. Because if you get, say, Burton's, or I honestly don't follow snowboarding and
No,
skiing very
you're on
much,
it.
so I'm
You're on
struggling
it.
to find names here. But but like if you look at like something like Coca Cola, right? Coca Cola is their main product.
Correct.
Yeah, it's sure they also make like Sprite or something like that, but it's never going to be their main thing. So they kind of just throw it out there as to a service to a smaller part of that population. So they're not giving it the same kind of attention that someone like yourself can,
Yeah.
where you're actually, that's your focus, is focusing on these communities and focusing on these people. And again, in my own opinion, I think that they are naive to how large that market actually can be. And I think that's great for somebody like yourself who can hopefully come in and then kick them out of the market they never wanted to play in anyways, or do what happens a lot of these times in these instances as well, is force them to actually put some real effort into that community as well. Now, for your business sake, I hope they don't do that. I hope they just give up and let you have it. But either way, it pushes these companies to either change or to support more of this type of stuff, because then you start getting their customers asking like, this was possible all this time, and I've been squeezing into like a size, a half size, two sizes, whatever it was, too small, too big, to try to make your stuff work. And here's a company that actually cares about me. Like, why should I stay with you? I'm going to leave. I'm going to go to somebody, nobody's princess, who actually cares about making products for me.
Yeah.
That's what I think. That's, again, I'm a business guy. I love business. It's one of, like, I read business articles and things like that. Like sometimes people read sports and stuff. So for me, I love hearing about these type of stores, because what you're talking about is really serving that consumer, really serving that customer base, and hopefully making a success out of that. But it starts with, again, that intrinsic factor of trying to fix your own problem and then helping out others who have the same issue.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, the industries, the groups, the brands, they are getting better slowly. Like there's a fantastic business that's actually also Melbourne based, but she's now moved to Canada and expanding that. And she does plus size snow gear, and it's fantastic. She'll do snow gear up to a size 30, which is amazing. But then, for me, I still look at it and, well, two factors here. She still struggles to get manufacturers because there's still brand names like XTM who are making them to actually make up to that size. And then the second part of
Mhm.
it is which is important to what I'll say in a minute, is that they're so drab. They're so boring,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
and you see that reflected even in normal fashion, right? I know,
Hmm.
especially in Australia, the rise of plus size, like fashionable plus size clothing, has only been here in the last, say, 5 to 10 years, which sounds like a long time, but in reality, it
No.
isn't, because I remember as a teenager, I was actually a lot larger as a teen. I was like something like 130 kilos, which I don't even know how to convert that into pounds, maybe like nearly 300 pounds. And I couldn't
Hmm.
find clothing as a teenager back then. So now looking, even though I've made some healthier choices and lost a bit of weight, I kind of look at these, plus size clothing stores that are quite fashionable and trendy, and with a bit of envy, because I'm like, well, where was that when I was young, when I needed it, sort of
Yeah.
thing. So it's fantastic, but we're still quite behind. There's not a large range of it here that's fashionable and, I suppose follows the trends that mainstream and normal sizing fashion does. And the reason that's sort
Hmm.
of relevant in what I'm saying is because traditionally, especially with snowboarding, not so much skiing, but snowboarding, the traditional clicks and background of snowboarders comes from surfing and skating, where streetwear is such an important part of your vibe, your aesthetic, and the
Yeah,
brand you're
yeah.
wearing. If you're a skater, you're wearing Vans and Cons, and if you're a surfer, you're wearing all your Billabongs and Quicksilvers and stuff like that. And so that brand and what you're wearing and making sure you've got the latest trend for that season is important. And because they come from these backgrounds, snowboarding has that same issue. It's still highly linked to streetwear and trends in fashion. So, having the latest season's fashions is like, it's that popularity game almost. And um,
Hmm.
to be a plus size person in the snow sports realm is still like we're back in the 90s. There's not that design, there's not that effort. Someone's gone, a handful of manufacturers gone, yeah, okay, we'll make a pan up to a size 30, no worries, but it's going to look like crap and not have any functionality to it. So that's what I'm wanting to change, because, I actually had quite a few discussions with my designer who's helping me make these. And I said, I wanted to
Hmm.
have this, this, and this. She's like, oh, I don't know how that's going to translate up into the bigger patterns. And I'm like, well, we've got to just make it work, because why should they get anything less? Why should it
Yeah.
be different? Because ultimately, unfortunately, fashion and what you're wearing does affect your confidence. And so there's the confidence part of it, and then the comfort and the movability, the usability. It is a piece of sport where at the end of the day you are performing a sport, an athletic activity, and so you need that material, you need that piece, that garment to be functional for what you're doing and not fall down or rip or let the snow in or
Mhm.
chafe you or whatever issue is there. So yeah, there's just this whole realm that surrounds, yeah, okay, we're getting better, but we're not there yet. And that's what I want to kind of break into, that fashion, functionality, comfort, and size range, and catering to a larger market. And I'm quite aware that I'm not going to hit it perfectly. I've already had people going, yeah, why aren't you going smaller? Why aren't you going bigger? And it's just me spending a bit of my cash with a designer, and
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
can't come out with 20 sizes straight off the bat because I don't even know if this is going to take. I'm really hopeful it does, and things are slowly looking that
Mhm.
way. But you know, I have those struggles of trying to cater for everyone, and I know I'm going to let people down, but hopefully I'll get there.
Well, yeah, and I think from what I've seen in when people start doing that, first of all, it's a good thing in itself because they want your brand and they want it to work for them, which because they recognize that that's what you're trying to do. But at the same time, I think people need to, and this isn't a message for you, you know this. This is a message for all individual people who may be listening. Just because you have a need doesn't mean every brand is going to solve all your problems. You have to find either a brand that you believe in and then keep just messaging them saying, hey, when you get around to it, after you're successful or something like that, can you make some stuff for me too? Because brands focus on a specific target audience, like I said, and your audience wasn't specifically that. Doesn't mean you're ignoring them. It just means I saw this issue in this area, I wanted to solve this, and then I can solve everybody else's problems as well, right? Like,
Correct.
but you just going too broad in the beginning, like you said, you don't have that kind of capital. And even if you did, that's hard. It's already hard enough to launch a brand targeted at a specific niche like you are. Now you're going, you know what? I'll just go ahead and get everybody at the same time. Let me go ahead and make, instead of just having like 20 SKUs or whatever, let me make 300 SKUs. And sorry, I forget what SKU stands for,
Uh,
but it's just like different line items basically
yeah, no
that you
idea.
sell and everything like that. So
Yeah.
for your example, like if you make one style of pant, a SKU would be every size of like that pant and patterns and all that type of stuff or whatever. So, anyways, um, I think that that's just something that you're going to feel as you're on this journey because like you said, you're not specifically doing this to make money, although you do hope to, obviously. You're doing it to try to solve this issue, and so you want to solve other people's issues as well. But you, again, it just has to stay focused on your core goal and then eventually get around to the rest of it as well. But just unlike those other corporations, actually getting around it at some point. And one of the things you said there that I think is very funny to me, and I mean funny kind of in a sad way, honestly, but uh is that why do we have this thing where like we think that people at a certain height, weight, or physical dimensions or whatever suddenly no longer care what they look like? Yes, they do. Of course they like fashion. What are you talking about? Of course they want patterns, they want options, they want all these different colors and everything like that. It's so weird to me that that was just what they did. It's like that throw you a bone thing that we make you a product, but like you said, it's like khaki. It's just all khaki, so you're wearing khaki from head to toe or something like that. You're like, no, people still want to like be fashionable, be fashion forward in the trends and everything like that, no matter what physical dimensions they have. Like, just that's a very obvious thing, and I don't understand that. So they're like, oh, it may not work for this pattern scaling up. But okay, you may have to make some modifications, and I think that's why a lot of these companies end up not doing it, is because it's financially more stressful for them to. But I still think that that's just a whole missed mark there, in then pretending that somehow the human psyche changes at different physical dimensions that you no longer want to look good. And like, that's, I've never met a person who just goes, you know what, I want to look bad. I want to look bad. I want to wear terrible clothes from head to toe. I've seen people who make those choices, but they don't usually do that on purpose.
No, even if they're choosing to make or wear something, they're doing it with reason. They might like the appearance, but yeah, you're 100% right. You may not be interested in the latest fashion trends or what's on the runways right now, but you still want to look good. And ultimately, it's not even about looking good, right? It's about feeling good, and what you're wearing is going to make you, unfortunately, feel better or worse. Like, even this morning, I got up and I had in my head, like, yeah, what am I going to wear to work today? Because I still work full time at the moment. I found myself another job to kind of help me with this business.
Hmm.
And I put on this. I'm like, yeah, cool. I'm going to wear this black skirt and a green top, and I put it on, and I just I put on, I'm like, yeah, okay, this is okay. And I went and did my hair and brushed my teeth. And I'm just like, went back to the mirror. And I'm like, no, if I go to work in this today, I'm going to feel horrible, uncomfortable all day, and it's going to nag at me. So I went and got changed. And it wasn't that I wore anything miraculous or fashion forward. I'm wearing a knit and some black jeans, but I just felt more comfortable. So yeah, it's all about making you feel better, and it doesn't matter what that is, but having the option there to be able to fulfill whatever it is that makes you feel good with what you're wearing is important. If you don't have those options, all of a
Mhm.
sudden it's going to be a huge, backlog and chain effect of how it makes you feel, what you then get accomplished for the day, what you go out and do for the day, what you might eat, what you might say, who you might
Mhm.
socialize with. There's just it's crazy how much that comfort, that confidence through how you're presenting and how you're feeling about yourself makes an impact in your life. So, and that's something that translates again back into being on the snow. And are you confident to hit the jump? Are you confident to go do a black run rather than a blue run? And are you confident to be out for 8 hours, or are you going to give up after two because your pants are annoying you? Or it's all those little things. And
Mhm.
that's the relation I find. So it's, yeah, really interesting that you bring up that point because it's so true.
Thanks for checking out Starting Nowhere. Come find us on Facebook so you can comment on this and other clips and episodes of Starting Nowhere.